Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to episode 68 of the X Button Gaming Podcast. In this episode, we got a special one prepared for you. I have a guest joining me all the way from the East Coast. He's the host of the Video Game Reaper channel. That's correct, right?
Game Collecting Reaper.
I knew I was screwing it up just as I was saying it. The Game Collecting Reaper channel on YouTube. He's part of the Generations Behind podcast, and he's part of the Bird Dog Gaming Squad. And that's my friend Tyler joining me here today. How you doing, Tyler?
Doing pretty good. Excited to talk to you since we never really had a full in-depth talk, so I'm kind of excited for this.
Yeah.
So should be a pretty good one.
I know, I'm excited for it too. We've talked a lot on Discord and even via text over the last, 6 months, year or so. But yeah, having an actual sit down and being able to chat, get to know each other a little bit better. I've been looking forward to it for a while. So thanks for joining me. I know it's later there too, so I appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Hey, I'm a night owl. It's all good. I'm always up to as we say on the my podcast, the luscious hours.
The luscious hours of the morning. Yeah, I was gonna say too. I mean, we'll give you a chance to talk about it a little bit later too. But I'm really enjoying your guys' podcast. It's my favorite kind of vibe because it's just friends talking about what they love. And that was kind of my idea when I started this. Was I just wanted to get together and talk about video games with my friends. And it's kind of that's what that feels like. You guys are just talking about video games, talking about specific games, specific genres, whatever. And I've really enjoyed it. And sometimes the wild talk, like what the best mayonnaise is.
Oh, dude, Craig caught us off guard with that. But yeah, I appreciate it. It's always been a good time. I mean, that's kind of how it all came to be. Craig was originally like, hey, let's just make a podcast. And I was like, talking with friends, video games, I'm in. Why not?
Right. It just comes naturally to some of us.
Yeah.
No, it's a great podcast. And like I said, we'll talk about it a little bit more later. But if for anybody listening, if you haven't listened to it yet, check it out because you can stream it. Can you stream it anywhere? Is it only on YouTube right now?
Just YouTube right now. But Craig said by episode 16, which is actually in 2 episodes, it'll be on streaming platforms. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So we shall see.
Well, here's to hoping because the more people that can listen to it, the better. It's a great podcast. You guys are cool people. So, whenever I have a new guest on, I always kind of try to do the same thing to give the opportunity for the audience to get to know you a little bit better, and it gives me a chance to get to know you a little bit better too. And so I ask a few questions, gaming related and not, to just kind of ease you into the episode, and like I said, just kind of get to know each other better. So I'm going to start off with one of those questions, and that is, what is your earliest gaming-related memory?
So, earliest gaming memory, I know I have like a couple others that I would maybe a little before this, but one that like is a big highlight to me. So, I'm 26, so gaming was a little younger than some people, but I remember my dad, he won at an auction house a Super Nintendo. And he gave it to me as like a gift. It was like a Super Nintendo, had Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Tetris Attack, Super Mario Land, or not Super Mario World. Wow, Super Mario World, and there was a couple others. But just kind of that whole aspect, and played Super Mario World for like hours and hours.
Oh, of course.
That's probably, and then like playing my dad in Street Fighter 2. Of course, me getting my butt whooped, but. So I got a little older. Not that I could take them, but yeah, that would be my earliest one.
You need to record for YouTube the rematch of you and your dad, and like where you've now outgrown the master.
See it.
So that's a great lineup of games to start with, and obviously Super Mario World's probably my favorite of them. But I am a huge Tetris Attack fan. Tetris Attack, and then Pokemon Puzzle League, the whole Puzzle to Pawn series. Oh yeah, and I'm a huge fan. Because Tetris Attack was my first one. My mom would actually play that with me, and I loved that game. So then when I found out on the 64 there was Pokemon, yet it was Tetris Attack, I was like, this is a win-win because I loved Pokemon. Yeah. I love that game to death.
That game's so good.
Yeah,
and then you just have the whole voice clips. It's like, all right, take this. All that stuff is great.
I know. And then fighting Giovanni and then Mewtwo at the end, like it's top tier stuff right there. All right. So what are some of your other hobbies? Obviously we're all gamers, but sometimes you have hobbies outside of that. Like what are some of those?
So one hobby that's kind of still, not really game related, but I'm a huge like Sonic collector. Collect a lot of different Sonic merch, figures, all the Jack specific figures. Currently, right now, my goal is to get like one of each Sonic character signed by a voice actor. Got
That's
quite a
cool.
few. Don't have like Sonic or anything, but I got like Big the Cat, got Jet the Hawk, got some side characters out of the way, all that type of stuff. Other than that, though, I'm also a big wrestling fan. Uh, all the old school wrestling, current wrestling.
Hmm.
I love going to like indie wrestling shows in my city, and uh, sometimes a little farther out, but really enjoy all that.
Yeah, that's super cool. So first off, it's really cool that you're doing the signatures for the different characters. I love that idea. Um, I'm a fan of Roger Craig Smith's Sonic. Um,
I didn't get to meet him. I was so upset. He was at too many games one year, and I was like, you know what? I'll go Sunday. It'll be nice and easy. So I go like 5 hours before the convention closes, and it's like, oh yeah, the line's cut off, and I was like, what?
you're
So
there
then
that early and you still couldn't.
I was like, oh, I should have went on Friday, but
I
so that was that. I was a little
that's
salty about
that
that.
sucks. I want to meet him and I want to have him sign a copy of Resident Evil 5, specifically because I love the voice line in that game where it's so stupid. But if Sheva is holding an egg in her inventory, you can have Chris ask for an egg and he just yells, "Give me an egg!" And it's just it's so random to me in a game that's not funny. Like it's not supposed to be humorous, but you just give me an egg, give me an egg. No, that's super cool though. And then wrestling, it's kind of funny because I watched wrestling somewhat as a kid. My parents didn't let me, but my friends watched it, so I'd watch it when I was over at their house and stuff. But me and Jasmine were just watching that documentary that's on Netflix, the Mr. McMahon one.
Oh, I still got to watch that.
Yeah, and it's pretty. I mean, it's interesting. It's in for sure. But
We were seeing when like it was first getting shown off, and Vince McMahon was like, "I don't like it. Don't believe everything." So I was like, "Oh, it's got to be a little spicy then."
yeah, it's pretty spicy, but it is interesting though. I will give it that. But my wife has never watched wrestling. Like she knows very little about it. She'll recognize some of the main. Like who doesn't recognize The Rock as a wrestler really. But before we started watching it, I was talking about how, to me, there's a couple things that are like very video game adjacent. Like a lot of gamers are really into it, and that's either horror or wrestling, and sometimes both. But like a lot of gamers are a lot of times into one or the other. Anime is like kind of the obvious one too, but horror and wrestling, like the majority of the people I worked with at GameStop were really into wrestling. Like it
Yeah.
got me into it more, but mostly just by playing some of the games. I still never watched a lot of it, but this documentary is really interesting.
Some of those N64 games are like peak.
Oh yeah.
And one of my favorite things to do with the modern ones is like they have all those custom creation things where you can like download a bunch of superstars. So when I got the newest one, the first thing I did was I downloaded like 30 superstars and put them all in a Royal Rumble. We had like Grimace, Ronald McDonald, we had like Elmo, Kermit the Frog, the streamer Queso, Tupac, a whole bunch of stuff. Queso ended up winning it all, but
That's wild.
great.
Grimace didn't win. What is this?
No, I was upset.
Dude, that is funny. I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, it's great.
So the wrestling games, they still do one every year?
Yeah, for the most part, they took a little break. I forget when. I think it was like 2022. I think they had a break, but other than that, they've been going pretty much every year.
They're still pretty good.
Yeah,
Obviously, that
decent.
sounds cool.
Yeah,
I know the 64 era though, like it's pretty unmatched. From what I
Yeah.
hear, that's when I played the most. My friends remember they had WWF Raw and then WCW versus NWO, and we used to play those a lot back in the day. Good times.
you ever play WWE or I think it was F at the time, Crush Hour?
Is that
On,
like the Twisted
GameCube
Metal
PlayStation?
style?
Yeah,
I have never actually played it. Is it good?
Man, that
Have you
game
played
is-
it?
It's from what I remember, it's not bad. Playing it now, I don't know how it would be, but just having like all the voice lines in my head, like The Rock being, "Who in the blue hell are you?" Just stuff like that. Every time you do a move,
Oh,
Vince McMahon like you're fired and stuff like that. But
that's pretty hilarious, actually. That might be kind of fun to play just for the memeability of it. I love Twisted Metal. I'm actually, you can't see it, but I'm wearing a Sweet Tooth shirt.
oh, I love it.
And I love, I even liked Vigilante 8 and those and the sequel too. I might have to give it a try. I doubt it's too expensive.
Nah, that's probably like a $5 to $10 game.
I'm gonna look for it. I'm gonna look for it. Now I want to play it. I always like adding multiplayer games to my GameCube collection too. Okay, next question. What are a few of your favorite games?
Few of my favorite games. All right. So obviously, well. I don't know if we're gonna see the video or not, but big Pokemon fan. Love
Come on,
Pokemon.
who's your favorite Pokemon?
Gengar, of course.
Yeah, I can.
That stands no question.
Just from what I see, I can already count at least 5 Gengar items, and that's just from what I can make out right away.
Yeah, if I send you a photo of like these shelves and I'm just like find them, you'd be like, oh, there's a little one there, a little one there. But yeah, Gengar is definitely the best. But however, Gen 1's not my favorite. I like Gen 3.
Oh yeah, I guess age-wise, I found over the years that according to like when you were about 9 to 10, that Gen tends to be about most people's favorite. So you probably would have been about that age around then.
Yeah, probably.
Gen 3 is, I like Gen 3. Gen 2 is my personal favorite, but Gen 3 is really good. And so did you like the remakes, Alpha Sapphire, Omega Ruby?
Oh, I liked them. I thought the only thing I was a little iffy was not having the whole battle frontier, but I mean, I still thought they were pretty good. Yeah. I enjoyed them. Yeah, and it's cool now. Like, I'm sure you've probably seen it. Like this whole Game Freak leak or Pokemon leak that's going on. All the Gen 3 beta sprites, I'm like living it because when the Space World demo came out from the Gen 1 and 2 leaks came out, I was like, oh, those are pretty neat. I would love to see Gen 3, and then it came out, and I was like,
dude, it's pretty wild. Like. That leak is a whole nother topic in itself we could talk about, but that was cool to see all the sprite leaks and stuff. And then there's some of the weird stuff, like the Typhlosion backstory.
Yeah, I seen all the Typhlosion memes first before that, and I was like, what's going on? I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I know, man, it's something else. There's some weird stuff going on in Game Freak in the early 2000s. They lived up to the freak part of their name.
Oh, for sure. But other than Pokemon, I really like some platformers. Crash Bandicoot's probably like I'm wearing a Crash Bandicoot shirt right now.
Oh, yes. My wife's favorite.
Oh, Crash Bandicoot is great. And then, like, a lot of people give some hate on Wrath of Cortex, but I think Wrath of Cortex was still pretty good, minus the load times on the GameCube. However,
yeah, the load times were bad, but I liked Wrath of Cortex as well.
And, Sonic Adventure series. I mean, I love all Sonic games.
Yeah.
But Sonic Adventure, Chow Garden, all that type of stuff. Fantastic.
Did you like Sonic Forces?
I liked it to a point. I felt like every time the level was really getting going, it's kind of like when the level ended.
Yeah.
So, like, it was kind of just, it had that weird kind of, how do you call it? Just from start to finish type thing. Like, it was just awkward, the timing element.
I agree. I was just surprised at how much it got so much hate that when I finally played it, because it came on PS Plus eventually, and I played it then, and I was like, I actually really like this game. Like, I was surprised at how much I liked it. But it is, like, I agree that sometimes the levels, just as they were getting good, I was like, and it's over. And the story was not the greatest, but I enjoyed it overall. I liked it more than I liked Colors, which I was excited to play. And they really let us down with that Colors Ultimate. I don't know. The fact that they didn't redo the cutscenes upset me. I was like, you're going from like this Wii looking game to like a remake of a game to I don't know. It was just weird to me. It was weird. It felt super weird. Because I played through the Ultimate when it came out. I'd played it on Wii back in the day, and I remember because I was excited for it because everybody was like, Sonic's back. And I remember being kind of like, I don't know. I didn't love it. So I bought Ultimate, and I did play it, and I ended up getting the platinum on it too, but I didn't love it. Like, I definitely walked away and was kind of like, I don't think I ever need to play that again.
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to the Generations one. Originally, I was like, I'm not going to get it day one, and then Limited Run was like, hey, we got this really nice looking collector's edition. I was like,
God, yeah.
Take my money.
Here you go. I'm broke now.
What do you think of Frontiers, though?
I enjoyed it. I did.
Same.
I played it. I mean, I guess it was almost 2 years ago now because I played it right after it came out. But it was kind of big, open, and bland sometimes. But I kind of liked the Shadow of the Colossus feel of some of the bosses. Like you had to figure out how to beat them. I thought the story was pretty good, and the soundtrack was great. Yeah. I enjoyed it. I would play if they ended up doing a sequel for it, like I think they've said they are.
Yeah, I think they
Um,
said they're going to try to stick to like the Frontier is going to be like kind of the new formula going forward for a bit. So
yeah,
looking forward to see what they expand on it.
that's what I think too. Like I think that it was a good starting point. If they don't make the proper changes for the sequel, it could be kind of disappointing. But yeah, just changing a few things here and there, maybe filling out the world a little bit more would be big. But I enjoyed it, and I felt like they got the speed down in an open world setting
Yeah,
finally.
yeah, that was great.
So any other favorites?
So another one of my favorite series is Fire Emblem. I got into that through Fire Emblem Awakening, kind of
Okay,
like I think most people did.
yeah.
It seems like a lot of people got in through Awakening. That one I got really good memories with. Enjoyed that one. That would probably be up there. And another series I love, which they got remakes, but I wish they would get a new game, is Klonoa. I
Yeah.
love Klonoa, Door to Phantom Isle, Tulu, Luna, Teal's Vale, wherever you say it. Those games are great. And if you haven't played the remake, I recommend playing them. Anyone listening, you yourself, I don't know if you ever played Klonoa.
I
Great
played
games.
the Wii remake of Klonoa 1.
The one
And
that
I
included a
liked it.
taco coupon,
Yeah.
the Wahoo tacos.
I liked that version, but that's the only one I've ever played. I never played 2. I never played the PS1 version.
They
I
changed his outfit in the Wii version, and then they changed it back in the remake.
weird.
I don't know
um
why they did.
I want to get that what do they call it? It's the collection. Whatever the
The Fantasy Reverie
Yeah,
series, I think.
that
Something like that.
I want to get it. I kept hoping they'd just do an ESRB version, but it doesn't seem like they're going to. So I'm just gonna have to get it on
What
PlayAsia.
what category of plus do you have?
Just basic, I think. Is it on
Okay.
extra?
Yeah, I think it's on extra or premium, one of the two,
Okay.
but it's on there.
I've actually been considering upgrading my PS Plus because there's like 5 games just on extra that I want to play. Then I'm like, and some like Plucky Squire is still digital, so I'm like, if I'm gonna pay $30 to play it digitally, I might as well just put the money into
Should
that
upgrade.
extra. And then if I'm gonna do that, I might as well put the extra money into the premium so I can play the PS1 games.
No, I
So
was in with the premium, like in the beginning when it wasn't that great. But so like me and my buddy, we do like game sharing on the PlayStation, like
yeah,
so we kind of go half and half on the plus, so it kind of like fixed it a little bit. So
that's
or
smart.
adjusted the price. So it's not bad. Now it's a lot better. Definitely got a lot more good stuff on there.
Yeah, and they've been putting out every time I look, they put out something new. And the amount of PS1 games that they've added that I would like that I'm like I'd like to go back and play that, especially now that it has trophy support.
Nope, I was gonna say that.
That number is getting higher and higher. So
And the fact that they add like weird stuff too, like weird niche stuff, like Mr. Mosquito, like who would have thought you were gonna add that? Which, by the
yeah,
way, I went and platinumed that.
yeah,
Uh,
remember hearing you talk about it on your podcast. I That's a game I've always wanted to play because it looks just
it is
so
weird.
weird. Yeah,
It's awkward. Well,
yeah,
not awkward. It's just weird.
it's just odd. Yeah, I mean, literally playing as a mosquito, just terrorizing a family, just
Yeah.
trying to suck their blood is
The
pretty wild.
the platinum was a little iffy because I had to like go watch a speed run to find where all the collectibles were because nobody's making a trophy guide on Mr. Mosquito.
I bet. That's another one too. Oh, and then like for PS1 they added Herc's Adventure, which is an old LucasArts
Mhm.
game. I'd always wanted to play that game. So I'm like, there's some stuff. I don't think that one had trophy support, which is kind of a bummer, but still want to play it. And it's real expensive on PS1 and
I
Saturn. So
I remember correctly, it didn't have trophy support originally, but I think they added it since.
even better. All the
Right.
more reason to go back. And all the Twisted Metals are on there with trophy support too.
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of reasons.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so next question. This is a new one. I've never asked anybody this before. Is there a game that you've always wanted to play, but you've never gotten around to, whether you just don't have it or you just haven't made the time and prioritized it?
So the one that came to mind immediately when like you told me that I was going to answer this question, Chrono Trigger. So and I have it on the Super Nintendo. I don't have the DS remake, but I had it for a little bit, and I don't know why. I just kind of just haven't made the time for it. I know I need to because I know like it looks like a great RPG. It's like critically acclaimed. Everybody talks about it. The Akira Toriyama art style. Big
Mhm.
Dragon Ball fan.
Me too.
So It's also similar, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace, Akira Toriyama.
I
Just
know.
saying, but it's just one that I know I would have a good time with.
You definitely need to play it. Chrono Trigger is a I don't say too often a game is borderline perfect, but it is a 10 out of 10. Like I think it holds up like perfectly whether you play the Super Nintendo version or the DS version. Like the DS was a great remake cuz they added the cutscenes and stuff
Hmm.
from the very mediocre PS1 version, but definitely worth playing. Great story, so many different endings you can get if you want to. A great cast of characters. Yeah, 100%. Definitely play it.
It's definitely one I gotta one of
Yeah.
these days. I thought maybe this year, but because I was like, yeah, last year we had so many great games come out, maybe this year. Now they're banging me, you know. Here's Metaphor, here's East 10, all these like long RPGs I want to play, and
I
I'm like,
know.
oh,
They keep adding them. I know. And then
give me time.
Alan Wake 2 comes out physically soon, and I didn't play it because I didn't want to pay $60 for a digital. So I told myself
Yeah.
if it gets a physical, I'm buying it. So I'm going to be playing that. And then I just bought Mario Party Jamboree because they sold me on the
Nice.
changes that they made. And I just got the Pixel remaster. I'm like, these are all, some of these things aren't even that big, but now I'm like, I want to play Final Fantasy VI finally for the first time.
Nice.
Yeah, because that's one of my games where I'm like, it's a real pathetic that I haven't played it yet. Is I've played every Final Fantasy other than 6 and 13, and 6
Oh,
is
wow.
widely considered like the one of the best, if not the best, for most people. I have a couple of friends that will listen to this, and like Darren knows. I promised him once I got this, I'm gonna play it because it's his favorite game of all time. So I need to start that. I'm gonna start it soon.
Yeah, Final Fantasy is like a thing I just got into like last year or 2 years ago. I think it was last year. Um, my one friend Patrick, he's a big like Final Fantasy VII fan, and just always hearing Final Fantasy this, Final Fantasy VII that. I was like, I'm gonna try it. So
Mm-hmm.
I played the OG, got through that, and then after the OG, I played Crisis Core, and then I played Remake, and then I went all the way back and played one on the Pixel remaster, and then I went all the way forward and played 16 when it came, and then I went back to the middle and played Rebirth, and now I gotta play all the ones in between. So
It's a lot to play for sure, but
yeah, that's
I think you did 7. I think you did it right. Like I think I would suggest to most people to play the original and then play the remakes next
yeah.
because they're so different. There's no reason not to play them both, and I think they're both borderline perfection in their own right as well. I love 7 was the game that was the RPG that kind of changed how I played games going forward. Because I'd played a few RPGs before that, but I have a lot of love for 7, and Remake I think is just an absolute beautiful remake. This trilogy, I mean, granted it's not over yet, but so far has been nothing but like,
almost there. One more to go. And
yeah,
that's they're just like, you know what? Fourth game. It's like, whoa.
come on, don't Hobbit
I
us.
want to know what happens.
Yeah, I know. I want to see the end. I wish I didn't have to wait a couple years, but I'll be
Yeah,
curious what you think of 8 because I love Final Fantasy 8, but it is
that one has like a big kind of diversity to it,
it's
right? Some
pretty
people love it or they hate it.
yeah, it's pretty widely regarded as people's least favorite. And I can admit it's not perfect, but the things that people hate about it, I tend to like about it. So like I like kind of the weird draw system, and I like the very over the top story. And I like all the characters. Maybe there's a couple I don't love, but I love that game. But I'm always curious to see what people think because I have friends that love it and I have friends that hate it. It's not a game. Most people don't put it in the middle. It's
Yeah.
very diversive, like you said, divisive, not diversive. But yeah, no, I other than 12, I like just about every Final Fantasy. I just I can't do 12. I've tried 3 different
No.
times, and I hate the battle system and I hate the characters. So I don't know. I might try one more time before the inevitable Final Fantasy episode. Anyway, all right, let's go on to the next one. So I already mentioned a little bit that you have a YouTube channel, that you have a podcast that you do with some friends. So why don't we talk about that for a little bit? What got you into wanting to do YouTube and podcasting, and what do you like about it?
So I always had friends tell me like, oh, I could tell you're passionate about like gaming and all that type of stuff. Like, why don't you like, be a YouTuber, do this, do this. And I was like, yeah, it would be cool maybe one day. And then eventually got into the whole bird dog community, met Craig, met Christian, all that stuff. And then Craig, had original talks like 2 years ago. We were like, oh, we should do like a video game book club, essentially a podcast, talk
Yeah.
about games. And then that never came to fruition. And then fast forward earlier this year, Craig was like, are you down to do a retro inspired podcast? And I was like kind of like I said earlier, I was like, well, get to talk to Craig, get to talk about video games. Why not? I'll do it. He's like, you sure? And I was like, yeah, what have we got to lose?
Mm-hmm.
We're just talking, posting it. We're having a fun time. So that's all that matters,
Yeah.
So that's how we got into that. Then we asked Zach if he wanted to hop on in. He was totally down. That's how Generations Behind was born. And then eventually, everybody telling me like, oh, do your own videos, make a video. And Christian would be like, when's Game Collector Reaper getting a video on his channel? And I was like, you know what? So one night when I got that my first video, that Sonic PSP Sega Fun Pack on the PSP,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm just gonna do an unboxing and throw it up. I threw it up there. Christian was like, whoa, and everybody was like, oh, he made a video. And I was
He
like,
did it.
yeah, I did it. I feel like my favorite thing about it is just being able to show off my passion for it, and then also the community. The community is like really cool now, and yeah, I just love meeting cool people like you, like Christian, all them. It's cool.
No,
Yeah.
I appreciate that, and I agree. I think that's the most fun part about doing all this is the amount of being able to branch out and meet more like-minded people with the same passion. And I'll say it again too. Like if you're listening and you haven't done so, check out his YouTube channel. Like that unboxing of that super rare PSP Sonic double pack. Like
I had that thing on my save search on eBay for like 3 years.
Dang, that's crazy.
And then I was sitting at a Texas Roadhouse and it popped up, and I was like, "Whoa, hold on, oop, bye."
Yeah, that's one of those things you don't think about.
Looked at my friends. I was like, "I just spent $200." They were like, "What?" I was like, "Yep."
Now you got to buy me dinner. No, that
now I'm broke.
Right. I've done that before too, so I understand that. That's super cool though. I love seeing the videos. Keep those up, and then like I said already too, the podcast. You guys have great banter. I love your differing opinions. It's one of those things too, where like you guys agree on a lot, but you're not afraid to disagree. Too, and like
our favorite mayonnaises,
I mean, come on, that's the biggest argument anybody gets into these days is what's your favorite mayonnaise? If it's not Chick-fil-A, you're out.
Craig sent me and Zach a photo the other day. He was like, "Oh, I just went to Wendy's for dinner, and they gave me like a whole like cup of mayo." I was like, "Why?"
Disgusting. That's wild. Just a cup of mayo, huh? That's that's something else. But no, I definitely I look forward to it every 2 weeks. Listening to the podcast. So keep it up, and it'll be nice when you guys get it out to the podcast streaming services too, so more people can hear it. You guys do a good job.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys keeping it up. All right, so let's go ahead and move into the next section, and so we're going to talk about what we've been playing in the section. So what you been playing? Yeah. So let's start with you, Tyler. What have you been playing the last couple weeks or whatever?
So, like I said earlier, big Dragon Ball fan. Of course, I got Dragon Ball Sparking Zero.
Yes.
Had to get it. The return to the Budokai Tenkaichi series. Got the Ultimate Edition. Had to get that 3 days early. Mainly because I was going to New York this past weekend for a game convention. So I was like, well, I don't want to wait. So I want to
play it now.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So, of course, I did that. I was playing through that, having a lot of fun with that. I'm really enjoying, like, the what-if stories.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the little branching paths. Don't know if you...
I haven't played it yet, but I love the concept of that. And that's what I'm looking forward to. So
there's like some small ones where it's just like, oh, if you did this, this happens. But there's some, like, one in Goku Saga, without saying too much spoilers, or Goku's story, where it goes like all the way from Raditz to like the end of the Frieza saga.
Wow.
And I was like, oh,
that's pretty cool. So I suck at fighting games, but I love Dragon Ball. So I always buy them.
Oh, I'm sure you've seen all the memes about Great Ape Vegeta.
Oh yeah, and how he's just impossible. And apparently Yajirobe is like broken good in this game. Like,
Well, I haven't tried him yet.
yeah, that's something else. But I missed out on the collector's edition, and I was so mad that I don't know, like I just turned myself off from playing the game right away because I wanted that statue, I wanted the steelbook. Like it came with so much stuff, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I was just so mad. It sold out so quick. I'm like, collector's editions nowadays don't sell out that fast, and like
And like, look at their Dragon Ball the Breakers one. They're still sitting on them.
I know, and I was stupid, and I bought that one. I have the cell shell right here.
Oh,
I
look at that.
I bought it day one, and that game wasn't even that good. Like,
I got it when it went on sale for like $10. I still have yet to. I played the beta,
yeah,
but I still get to play the actual game.
I played the beta. Me and my friend, who also bought the collector's edition day one, we both were like, "Oh yeah." We were like, "The beta was fun, but I wanted the cell shell." And then yeah, I have regret.
Dude, I remember we were playing the beta, and it was me and a bunch of friends. I think I forget who the beginning ones were, but I'm pretty sure I was Cell. And then I finally got to be the villain because I kept on being the regular person for like the longest time. Finally get to be Cell. Dude, they cornered me in a cave and just like annihilated me, and I was like, I'm done with this game.
That so
Can't do anything.
and that is my problem with the game is I feel like it doesn't matter. I'm just terrible at it. Like I finally get to be. I'll play match after match after, like you just said, match after match, not being the villain, and like just getting destroyed. And then I'm finally like, yes, I'm the villain now. I get to be Majin Buu, and I'm like dead in 2 seconds. I'm like, how am I
It's
so
like, how
bad
do
at
people
this?
do this and they stay alive for like a while. I was gonna say minutes, but it doesn't even sound long. But like for the game, and I'm just like here, I get caught in a corner. I can't do nothing. I'm dead. Okay,
Yeah.
well that was fun.
No, my experience was the exact same, and it's disappointing because I wanted to like it. I liked the concept. You know, you play as everyday people, and you're it's kind of that Dead by Daylight type gameplay. But yeah, I haven't played it in a long time because I just did not feel it, man. It was disappointing. But I'm glad to hear so far.
Take a break from that and play Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 DLC like 87.
Oh god, I know. Still putting out DLC for that game. It's crazy that game's still going. Especially the fact that they've released other games since then, right? I mean, I guess
they're doing a lot for Kakarot too.
Yeah, they keep Kakarot going.
They just announced Dragon Ball Daima DLC for Kakarot today.
I didn't even see that. That's crazy. Kakarot, I loved Kakarot though. Like I absolutely adore that game. It's my like. I feel like anybody who wants to play something Dragon Ball related that doesn't want a pure fighting game, like you should play Kakarot.
Yeah,
they do a fantastic job of touching on like every aspect of that universe, including Dragon Ball related stuff. Like I don't know. I thought it was fantastic. I have that. It's one of the few games that I own. I have it on PS4, PS5, and Switch, and eventually I'll have the Xbox One version too because I have to own them all.
Hey, there you go. Gotta get them, just like that PlayStation Hits Dragon Ball Xenoverse, you know.
Yeah, I have it right here. I keep it safely off to the side until I have to buy some protective cases for PS4 style games. I don't have any, and I keep forgetting to buy them, so I need to do it. I keep it there so I don't forget, and then I forget.
Makes sense. I've been needing to do that for like Game Boy Advance, like box protectors for the longest time. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I should get that. 5 months later, I still need these. But
I know they're not expensive, but when we are already part of a hobby that's not cheap, it's hard to spend money on that stuff. But at the same time, I want it protected, so
yeah,
it's not a fun purchase, but it is kind of rewarding to put all the games in cases and stuff.
Yeah. And, reminiscing about them, look at the back of them. It's like, oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. Reliving that. All right, back on the show.
Yeah, but there you go. It was fun. Fun 5 seconds there.
You stayed there.
Yeah. I love looking at you every couple days. All right, what else you been playing?
I've been playing big East fan, the action RPG series. Played so far 9, 1, and 2.
Okay.
Eventually want to play them all. But East 10's coming out next week. They dropped a demo, so I was like, I gotta play this demo. And I gotta say, it's a long one. Like,
is it?
I'm probably like 5-6 hours in.
Oh, geez.
And I'm like, is this demo gonna end?
Dude, long demos have become a little bit more prominent these days. And the fact that they let you carry over the data to the main game is smart.
It's gonna suck when eventually it ends, and I'm gonna be like, oh man, because
I don't want to
like
stop
I said,
this.
next week I'm going to Texas, so I'm not gonna be able to play it until the following week. So I'm like, my collector's just gonna be sitting here at home, and one day I'll get to it.
Yeah.
But it's been pretty cool because they added like ship combat and all that stuff to this one,
Oh, that's cool.
so it's pretty neat to see all that. And they got like a some kind of like mana thing that like brings two characters together, and you could fight as two characters at one time,
That's pretty
essentially.
cool.
So that's a cool, neat concept they added to it. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. Uh, Other than that, this convention, get this. This was pretty mind blowing to me.
Okay.
I like shmups,
Yeah.
and you know a lot of shmups are like Japanese only or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I found this one called, I had to look at it, Trouble Witches Final Episode 1, Daughters of Amalog, something like that. And you know it's all Japanese. I was like, yeah, it's a shmup. You know, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I pop it in my PS5 and it all became English.
Oh, well, that's nice.
I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So I started that last night. I played through that. Did like a little arcade run. That was pretty fun. And then
What was the name of it again?
Trouble Witches Final Episode 1, Daughters of. It's like
It's such a wild name.
Amalog, something like that.
The,
Yeah, and it's not even on like the American PlayStation Store.
huh. Well,
And
that's
it's
a
not
cool
even letting
find
me
then.
it's not even letting me look at trophies on the PlayStation app, so I don't even know.
That's
It's weird. All the trophies are in English too.
that
So I'm
is
like, oh.
super cool that it just auto translated it for you. And
Yeah, it made me want to like try to figure out what other games do that.
yeah, that would make collecting a whole nother beast of things that you can do. Games that auto translate to English that are Japan only.
I probably was like, wait, that's all in English. The description's in English. I was like,
Dude, that's
okay.
wild. I would never have expected that. And
like I knew some games like from other territories they had like the English
Yeah.
version, but I didn't know it just automatically does that.
I didn't either.
So-
It must recognize the region your console's on or something. I had no idea. I love how wild a lot of shmup names are. Like, well, why would you ever think that was a shmup? But just by the name, you wouldn't. But like, it's just
Trouble Witches Episode 1.
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
and
$20, okay.
and sometimes like the covers are just very anime. Like there's nothing to give you like any sign that it's a shmup. It's a wild genre of games. Like, but I mean it's a genre that I've touched very little of. Like I've played Ikaruga and 1942 and some of those random ones here and there. But I do want to branch out into it a little bit more because I love the concept of it. The bullet hells are fun.
Yeah, I just realized they did a Race Storm HD collection on PS4. I'm like, ooh, I want to get that too. There's like so many coming out, and then there's like so many just ones you can import. I'm like, man, this could be a whole another rabbit hole to go down.
Oh, I know.
One day.
I can't even imagine. That'd keep you busy a while on its own for sure.
Yeah. And then lastly, one game I've been playing, been replaying through Pokemon Blue, the original one right here.
Yes, on your Game Boy Advance.
Yeah. It really makes me upset that there's no backlight, and it makes me want to get an analog pocket. I'll tell you.
Dude, I love my pocket. I'm a huge fan of it. They are expensive, but they're nice.
Yeah, been playing through that because Zach from my podcast, he's playing through Pokemon Red, and when we get together, we're gonna do all the trades and everything. We're gonna make like a video out of it. So
yeah,
that's gonna be pretty fun.
That's awesome. And so I was listening to the most recent episode. I believe you were talking about that, and you talked about the Mew glitch, right? And I didn't even know that existed. And I played.
You didn't know about that?
No, I played Pokemon Blue on like right when it came out. I played it a dozen times over the years. I had no idea about that. Like I knew Missing No
under the truck. He is on the Nugget Bridge.
Yeah, I know, dude. I remember going through you guys talked about it, like that rumor of like you can get Mew if you can get to the truck, and you can do all that crazy stuff to get to that truck. And I remember doing that and being like so disappointed that nothing happened.
It's like, what do you mean he's not here?
Yeah, it's just wild how a rumor like that could go transcend time like that. I don't know, but no, that's cool that I mean, so if you want to hear about it, listen to their last episode of the podcast because you gave the whole like breakdown of how you do it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because you could do that with like other trainers as well. Like as long as you don't battle that one that you could teleport on, you can go into any like trainer, do a battle, and depending on like stats, it gives you a random one.
Yeah.
So
That's super cool, man. It's just crazy that I never heard of that. But it's a legit Mew, so you can
yeah,
trade it and use it, and that's cool. Makes me want to go
no
back and
hacking
play.
required.
What was that?
I said no hacking required.
Yeah, it's always nice when you don't have to hack. I want to go back and play Red or Blue. I haven't played any. I haven't played any of
It's
them in a long time.
it's definitely been an experience because now we're kind of
We're spoiled
you,
now.
you still play modern Pokemon.
Yeah, I do.
So now we're like spoiled. We're like everyone gains XP. It's not
It's
like
easy
you gotta do
now.
this whole switch. Yeah, so it's like man, you're just here for like hours. Like for instance, one for Nidoran male in blue. Nidoran male is like a 1% spawn rate,
Yeah.
and just going through all those encounters, I was like, man, can I just find this already?
Yeah, man. I'd like to go back. Yeah, I'd like to go back and play it just to see. I mean, I know it's changed a lot. But Gen 1, I mean, I have nostalgia for Gen 1, but Gen 2 is by far my favorite. I did play through Crystal on the 3DS, the Virtual Console version of it, last year, I think.
Speaking of that, Nintendo just needs to add this to NSO. Like I don't know what they're waiting on. But
I can't, okay, I don't know anything about coding and all that crap, or it's not crap, but that
it can't
stuff.
be hard.
I can't imagine it's that hard for them to why we have Pokemon Stadium, why can't they put the rest on the Game Boy games on there and then give us compatibility between the two? Like I can't imagine that wouldn't just raise the NSO subscriptions by a lot. There are a lot of people that would take advantage of that.
They're probably thinking, would we be big scumbags if we made an extra tier just for Pokemon games?
Yeah.
And then people would complain, but people would still pay for it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would pay for it. I'm not even gonna lie. I know I would. Most of my friends would too. Yeah, I have a group of friends that we're all into Pokemon VGC, so we play pretty regularly. Yeah. Anyway, anything else you've been playing?
That's pretty much all as currently.
Okay.
How about you?
Let's see. For me, I'll just talk about a couple of the more recent ones. So at Portland Retro Gaming Expo, I did a video showing my pickups there, and one of the games
I gotta go one of these years. I want to go.
If you ever come, let me know. Like it's my goal now to go every year if everything requires it, and we'll make an event out of it. Everything allows, and we'll make an event out of it.
It requires we must go.
Yeah, it is a requirement. It is now it is on my list now where I'm like, if at all possible, I make sure to not plan anything that time of year so that I can go. Like I don't know how you put it. Like my anniversary is one of those weekends that you keep untouched, and PAX is another one where I keep that weekend open, and then like Portland Retro Gaming Expo is one of those weekends too. But one of the games I picked up there was Putty Squad on the Vita, and I don't know why. I was just like, I bought this game. I'm going to play it. And I have a fat stack of Vita games that are probably a lot better than Putty Squad, but I don't know. I decided to play it, and I played through it. I finished it. I got the Platinum Trophy.
Isn't that a hard one to find on the Vita?
It is. So
I'm going for a complete Vita set. I don't even remember. But I'm pretty sure.
So only reason I know that is because Craig Game Room, who is the co-host of the Generations Behind podcast with Tyler, he did a video when he completed the set and talked about some of the obscure or slightly more rare Vita games, and that was one of them. So I made a list of all the ones that I hadn't already listed. So yeah, and I found it when I went to Portland. I found a copy of it, so I grabbed it. Yeah, I played it, and I didn't not enjoy my time with it. But it's very much so. It was a Super Nintendo or European Super Nintendo game, like a PAL, I guess. It wasn't. I don't think it came out in America. And you can tell, like it has that feel of kind of the '90s platforming level based system. It's just like I don't know. I liked it enough, but I don't know that I would ever recommend it to anybody. Like.
Yeah,
I know I'm a lot more lenient on games than most people are. Like I can find things to like about it, and as long as it controlled well and was passably fun, I'll enjoy it. And I enjoyed it enough. I doubt
like Sonic 06 is a great game.
Yeah.
When I talked to the little side note, I talked to the Sonic voice actors, the one for Silver, Pete Capella. I was like, "Oh, so what was your favorite game?" He was like, "Sonic 06." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Are you lying? That's pretty wild. I've still never played Sonic 06, and I want to just because, like, just
never played it. Oh
I
man,
man, I
just the
was
NPCs going like, "Hey," they're just constantly going. It's like, what are you doing?
I remember watching all of the videos and stuff about it when it came out and hearing everybody's complaints, and I just never did. But now I don't think I own it still. I need to just buy a copy of it and play it just so that I can say I've done it and see if it's as bad as everybody says it is. I hear it probably is, but
I had you know, the YouTuber Some Call Me Johnny.
mm-mm.
No, he was big into like doing Sonic reviews and stuff back then. Now he does a whole bunch of different stuff.
Okay.
But he was at Too Many Games one year, and I was like, "Can you sign my copy of Sonic 06?" He was like, he gave him like a top hat and a monocle and signed his name.
He's like, I'm going to go all out for my
Yeah.
deep, deep hate of this game. So yeah, Putty Squad was just okay. Then once I got the Pixel remaster, I was like, I'm gonna play 6. But before that, I want to play through 1 again because I haven't played through Final Fantasy 1 in a long time. So I played that and I blew through it pretty quick. It wasn't until the end of the game that I realized you could click down on the right thumbstick to shut off encounters, and God Almighty, that would have been nice. Like, I think it took me about 18 hours. Yeah, God, man, like the encounter rate in that game is wild high, and it's one thing when you're trying to level up earlier on, or when you're in an area for the first time and you're leveling up. But when you're just trying to, because I didn't want to use a guide, I wanted to try do everything off memory, and I didn't remember everything perfectly. So I'm walking around areas multiple times, just getting attacked over and over again, and getting barely any experience for it. I'm just like, ugh. And then yeah, literally just before I went to the Chaos, 2,000 years in the past area, I realized I accidentally hit R3 or clicked down on the right thumbstick, I think, and it said encounters off, and I was like, you son of a gun. Like, I could have saved all this time on encounters. But that being said, of course this was a remake. It's a pixel remaster of the Game Boy Advance remake, I believe. It's definitely not a straight version of the original NES version. But I feel like it holds up really well. Like, I still really enjoyed it. Simple, straightforward, not story heavy. There's no chocobos and stuff yet. It's before I think that a lot of that stuff came in too, but it was a fun game. And the other main thing I've been playing was, once again, thanks to your podcast, the indie episode you guys had. You guys talked about Vampire Survivor, and I had and I had a friend who'd talked about it on my podcast, and I kind of wanted to play it, but then listening to you guys talk about it and how much you all liked it, I was like, I got to just play this game finally, because I just like, sometimes it's nice to have just that easy, not easy, but that small game that you can kind of pick up, play around, put it down, play something else or do something else. And yeah, I'm addicted to it. Like, I've played it a lot already.
Like you'd be doing one stage, and then next thing you know, you'd be like 40 minutes into the stage. You're like, oh wow,
okay. 100%, man. Like, I have played, and then I just started over and do another run, and then do another run. Like yesterday, Jasmine was gone, and it was after I was done with work, and I didn't have anything to do, and I just finished Final Fantasy 1, and I wasn't sure that I wanted to start 6 yet, so I was like, I'm just going to play Vampire Survivor, and I literally sat there and played it for like 4 hours. So, and it's, I don't know, like, it hits whatever that feeling is in my head that really also likes like roguelite games, because it does kind of have that roguelite feel to it.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just hits, and I really enjoy it. So that was definitely a good recommendation.
Got like a ton of DLC too.
Oh man, it's wild. The amount of trophies in that game is, it's crazy. There's so many DLCs, and each one has a trophy set. Like, you could stay busy on that game for forever. Yeah, but other than that, I mean, I play Valorant with some friends, and I'll go back to Apex Legends here and there, but
man, I haven't played Apex since like season 2.
Yeah, we're in season like 24 now.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's changed a lot, not all for the best. So I don't know, like, I like that game. I feel like it plays really well. Like, I like the characters in it. But EA is just scummy, and you can feel it like every time you play it, how they're just trying to bleed people dry. Like, I don't spend money on that game, and I refuse, because the value of what you get for actually spending money is not there. There's no value, and they don't fix the issues. Like, the sound in that game is terrible. but they're always adding new things to buy. It's frustrating. I hate it and I love it. I can't stop going back to it, but that's what you call addiction, I guess.
Yeah. Gamer gets that itch,
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. It's something to play with friends, but yeah, I don't know. We're coming into this time of year. I always, things slow down more with work and stuff. So this is when I usually catch up on some of my backlog. So my backlog continues to grow. I can't stay ahead of my backlog. It's too.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever get there.
No, that's the problem of being a collector.
Unless early retirement's an option, I don't know if we're getting.
Yeah. Yeah, if that's an option, I'd love to know how.
Seriously.
Oh man, but yeah, I'm looking forward to Alan Wake 2 here in a couple weeks. And I want to play Final Fantasy 6 soon. But yeah, other than that, I don't know what my main thing. I'm looking forward to playing the new Mario Party. So did you see some of the changes they made?
I didn't. I see it was getting decent reviews, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, so one of the coolest things, and the thing that convinced me to pick it up, was that you can, I don't know how to word this, you can adjust the rules, there we go, for each match. So you can change certain things, like how you can lose stars randomly and stuff like that. You can change it so that it doesn't happen or happens less. Certain events will happen less, so you can focus it and put it down to more of just like the board game multiplayer or mini game aspects of it, and get away from some of the craziness. And I don't mind that, but some people hate it. Like my wife hates it because she doesn't like that if she's doing good, it can just all turn for no reason, no skill required.
And then you lose 3 stars and everything else.
So I kind of like that because I feel like it adds more diversity to the series than has been there in a long time. So I took a gamble. I picked it up. I'm looking forward to trying it out this weekend.
Nice.
All right, so let's move on to the main topic. So, since the beginning of time, people talk about the cavemen days and, whatever you believe about that. Something that's always been embedded in mankind is hunting. People love to hunt, whether it be go out and, you hunt for food, or some people, I don't necessarily agree with it, but they hunt for sport. And they love to not just hunt, but then also like display their prize on their walls and stuff. And we gamers, we're no different. We're right there too. We love to hunt. As collectors, we love the hunt of finding stuff. But as just gamers, some of us love that adrenaline rush of trophy hunting, which obviously is by no means the same as actual hunting. But it's just a funny analogy. But trophy hunting, achievement hunting is something that becomes more popular, I feel like, every year. I feel like it doesn't decrease in popularity. Like, some people play games for years, unlocking trophies and stuff, and don't realize that how much they enjoy it until one day they get the platinum for a game and they go back for it, and they go back to other games and start doing that more. And the same thing with achievements on Xbox. It's a fun feeling, and people are constantly finding how much they enjoy it. Of course, it's not for everybody. Some people hate that ding that pops up in the middle of a game. But Tyler and I, both love trophy hunting, and that's when I asked him to come on the podcast, I said, let's talk about trophy hunting, because I've had trouble finding somebody that I could really talk about it with. So I appreciate you coming on here, and we're going to talk about it some. So why don't we talk about why we started hunting? So Tyler, why don't you start? Why did you start getting into trophy hunting?
So originally got my PS3, would play games, wouldn't necessarily go for trophies. I see them as like little challenges type thing. Then my buddy Jason, he was like big into it, and he would, try to play as many games as he can, all that type of stuff. And eventually I was like, you know what? I kind of want to do that. So my first platinum was none other than Modern Warfare 3, the original Modern Warfare 3. Got that on August 6, 2012.
Dang.
So I guess that is when my platinum journey started. And ever since then, I was just like, you know what? I want to do this for a lot of games. And now I have 141, something like that.
I looked at your trophy list, and you have an impressive amount of platinums.
I gotta give some respect to my buddy Jason, though. He got like 300 something now. So
dang, that's awesome.
One day I'll catch up.
I need to. I mean, I know I don't know your friend Jason, but I need to be friends with him on PlayStation just because I love looking at people's trophy lists.
I feel that sometimes it's cool to just go through and be like, oh, what are they playing? Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Exactly. It's fun.
I had some random person like message me the other day on PlayStation, and he was like, "Oh, hey, seeing your trophies. Thought it was pretty cool, and just wondering what you've been playing and stuff." No clue how this guy found me. And then I messaged back and I was like, "Oh, I've been playing this one. I got to play him on Power World and some other stuff a couple weeks ago." And then told him all that, and I was like, "Let me check his profile." He has 1,200 platinums, or
Ooh,
1,000 or 2,000. I'm pretty sure it's 1,000. I was just
dang.
like, what?
That is crazy.
He got a mix of those like other games too, where it's like the jumping tot dog, the jumping
Oh yeah,
whatever, the
the
jumping
20
whatever.
cent like platinum
Yeah,
games. That's the whole point
once
of
you can get
them.
them like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I have some of those, but there's a reason. Like I kind of do it not necessarily just for the platinum, but what me and my friends do, my buddy Jonathan, Jason, and Hector, and Matt occasionally. We'll all get the game, and then we'll start at the exact time. We'll have a race just as you can get it first, and all
Oh
that type of stuff.
yeah.
So like that's how I got my name is Mayo and
See, that's at
Crossy
least a fun way.
Road Bustle. That was an interesting game, and like some other thing. So we just sometimes we'll do like platinum races like that, which are pretty fun.
That's
But
a really cool idea. I've never thought of doing that with somebody. I only personally have one of those trophies, and I didn't even know when I bought the game that it was one of those games, and it was I think it's Metal Gal.
I have that,
You have that one? Okay, so it's because it's like a Mega Man clone.
and you don't even have to beat the whole game. It's like 3 levels, and then you get the platinum.
Yeah,
It was so random.
and I did not realize that when I bought it, and it was like I want to say I got it because it was only like 50 cents or something crazy cheap. Like I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool. Yeah, and I got the platinum in like less than an hour.
Yeah.
I was like that.
And you know dang well that was cross by with Vita, and I may have done it on Vita as well. Not because I have a problem, but
There's no problem here, I swear, officer. Um,
exactly.
yeah, man, that's so you said 2012, right? Was your first platinum? Modern
Yep.
Warfare 3. That's a big platinum too because I've never really played the Call of Duty games much, but I know their trophy lists aren't easy and there's a lot of multiplayer trophies in them, right?
Occasionally, some of them there are, some there aren't. For Modern Warfare 3, you had to, or if I remember, I beat the game on Veteran. Each mission had like a specific trophy to it, like make sure you don't miss a single missile in this mission or something like that. And then you had the Spec Ops mode. Usually, the multiplayer trophies are like prestige or reach max level, win 10 games, something like that.
Yeah.
So sometimes there's like in the Treyarch ones, like the bunch of the zombie ones, there'll be like a whole mix of those. But yeah,
Yeah, that's so the thing about that's kind of nice is if it has multiplayer trophies and they turn off the servers, it's nice to have them because then that number of percentage of people that have the platinum continues to go down over over
yeah,
the years.
that's one that still upsets me. Well, not like Modern Warfare 3, but talking about online trophies in general,
Hmm.
because one game, like my PSN profile is at the top right, how it says your rarest trophies. Like 3 of them are this game, and none of them are the platinum, which is Twisted Metal on the PS3.
Hmm.
I like went through that game on the hardest setting, got all the gold medals, and I got like the laser pistol and minion or whatever. And then I was like, all right, now I just got to do like multiplayer trophies. And of course, they shut the servers off. And I was like, well,
Yeah,
this is a bot that's going to escape me. I'm just going to have these rare trophies up here.
it's frustrating for sure. I actually plan on doing a YouTube video on that soon.
Oh,
Kind
yeah?
of kind of talking about that because I've been looking through my. Well, I saw an article a while back, and it was talking about how eventually the PlayStation 3 store will shut down, and eventually they'll shut down the servers for the PlayStation 3, and then you can no longer. I mean, then there's potentially no way to upload trophy data from those games, which then got me thinking like, man, I got to go through and like platinum some of the games from the PS3 that I never did. And then it got me looking at like, oh yeah, this game, that game, Twisted Metal was one of them where I was like, I'd want to get the platinum on that. And I was like, God, the servers are shut. God, the servers are shut off on this too, and on Vita too.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many games where I'm like, it's frustrating because I don't know about you, but when I start a game, I look at the trophy list. I don't if it's story related stuff, I don't look at that. But I'll go to PSN profiles and I'll look at like the difficulty, and I want to know if there's missable trophies and stuff, and like how much time I can expect if I decide to do the platinum on this game. So yeah, it's really frustrating when you go on there and you see that the red words that say platinum no longer available because server
Oh
shut down.
yeah.
I'm just like, there's so many games I'd love to get the platinum on. Like I recently played Little Deviants on Vita. Not a great game, but it was fun. And if I'm playing it, I'd get the platinum trophy. But there's one or two trophies on there that you can't do because you can't access the leaderboards anymore. Because the servers are shut down. It's very frustrating.
Dang. Dude, it's like I like seeing some of these company or not companies, but like groups now. Like I don't know if you heard, but they're bringing back some of the servers, and you can get onto it, and it actually makes the trophies accessible again. And I'm just sitting there in their Discord waiting for them to be like, "Oh, Twisted Metal PS3 back online," because they added online functionality to Twisted Metal Black
Yeah.
on the PS3. I'm like, "Can you please do the PS3 one? I know Black is maybe a little better, but I want these trophies."
Yeah, please, 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 for the love of God. Um,
Or
man,
like when they added trophies to PlayStation Home and then took PlayStation Home like a couple months later and nobody was able to 100% it.
yeah, I talk. So I didn't spend as much time on PlayStation Home as I could have. And for anybody who's not familiar with it, just a little breakdown of what it was. It basically was a social hub on PS3 where you could have
Way
your
too
own.
early for its time.
What was that?
I think it was just too early for its
I
time.
100% agree. And it was cool because you could have your own living space, but then you could go to these areas and do events and stuff with people. Today, this idea I think would flourish. But in the late 2000s, early 2010s, it didn't. I don't think people understood it. But I want so bad for them to bring back PlayStation Home in some form. I think it was a cool idea that they just completely missed the mark on it. And they shut it down too soon.
And it was cool, like in certain games, like if you beat the game, you got a special item in PlayStation Home. Certain games, like one that I know my buddy Jason talks about, like he beat Mega Man 9 or 10 or one of them, and it gave him like a special shirt for his character.
See, that stuff, like it's beautiful. Like, I don't know. And I feel like that just encourages sales too. Like if people get into that social aspect of that and they like to be able to show off like that, like you said, like a shirt for your avatar or an item in your personal house in the game, like then they might buy a game that they wouldn't have bought otherwise just because they want to get that item.
Yeah.
It's cool. And it's too bad that they haven't brought it back now. But I don't know. Nowadays, no matter how much I still love gaming, the companies definitely don't feel like they're for the people most of the time. So
Yeah.
if there's no money in it, then why would they do it? So for me personally, like kind of like you, like I remember I got a PS3 not long after launch, and I remember the days before trophies were even integrated yet. Because I played Uncharted 1 at launch and Heavenly Sword at launch, and neither of those games at the time had a trophy list, and Heavenly Sword still doesn't, which is too bad because it's still a great game, but it's too bad because there's no platinum to get, so it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But then, like I remember them finally adding trophy support onto games going forward, and that was really cool because the Xbox 360 already had achievements, and I didn't have an Xbox, but I liked the idea of that. And for me, it kind of feeds back to even being younger than that and playing games like even on like Super Nintendo, or like I remember playing Final Fantasy I think it was the first time I played Final Fantasy 9, and like I did everything in the game, like everything you could, I did everything, maxed out all the armor, beat all the sub bosses, got everything you could do before I finished the game, and it's awesome. Like I still feel good about having done that. But then trophies kind of feed into that aspect even more because now I've done all of these things and I can kind of show it off. And who doesn't like to show off their accomplishments,
Exactly.
And it feels good when you get certain trophy lists. You're like, okay, I got like Final Fantasy 1. Like I got the platinum. It's not brag worthy. You basically just beat the game and you get the trophy. But sometimes when you put all that effort into it on a game you really liked and it was not easy to get, like it feels good. And it feels good to be able to say like, yeah, I got the platinum on this game. My first platinum, just to kind of like you mentioned your first one, my first platinum was Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection on the PS3.
Oh, I got that one.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy platinum list, and that was kind of what unlocked me wanting to do more platinums.
Beating Dr. Robotnik's Mean Beam Machine, man.
Dude, right?
Remember that one?
Yeah, that was the grindy trophy on it. All the rest of them are pretty easy. But yeah, I got that on April 7th, 2010. So going back a ways. And at that point, I already had, like I talked about it, I had a PlayStation. I'd gotten trophies before that, but that was the first platinum I got. And then that kind of unlocked the small cycle of me getting more into it. But it wasn't till just before COVID, actually, in 2019, I hit this stride where I played through Shenmue, the HD remaster. Then I played Persona 5, and I played Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and I got the platinum in each one of them, and that kind of unlocked this like snowball effect of me like getting more into platinum hunting again. Because over the years I'd probably had like 10 to 20 before that time period, but now I'm up to 78, I think. So it's gone up a lot. Still, not the 140 like you are, the 1,000 plus like the guy who reached out to you.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But each one is fun. Yeah, but I love, like I don't know that I could say it enough, but I love trophy hunting. I feel like it just adds to the game. And I guess this kind of talks. The next question I was going to ask is why we like to get trophies and achievements, but we've definitely already talked about that.
Yeah.
It's
Just
definitely
having that sense of like completion and that, I don't know, it makes you feel like you got your money's worth. And also, like, sometimes there's some trophies that would lead you to do something in a game that you wouldn't do otherwise. And it's like a cool, maybe like a game mode or will lead you to a cool unlockable or something like that. Unlockables, we don't get that anymore nowadays, but
yeah, right.
Now it's like pay $2 and get this. But
And with some games too, I like the fact in certain games, like the Personas, for example, I don't necessarily want to go back in and play it again right away to get the platinum trophy. Or like Rebirth is a trophy I want to get the platinum eventually, but I couldn't when I was done with it the first time. I couldn't go through it again. I just spent 140 hours. So, but some games, especially shorter ones, I like that it gives you a reason to play it multiple times and maybe gather stuff that you missed the first time. I've found that sometimes it makes me appreciate a game even more because when I tend to play stuff kind of fast sometimes, which then maybe takes away from how much I'm able to see and enjoy. And in turn, this kind of gets me to play through it multiple times and enjoy and catch things that I didn't see or experience things that I didn't experience the first playthrough. And I really appreciate that.
yeah, I like when per se, I enjoy a platinum when it's one playthrough. Like I don't mind doing a second playthrough, like per se, if it's like a new game plus run or something. But if I can like in one playthrough, besides that trophy, get everything without having to worry about missing anything, it's like perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe not like if you go past this area, you can't get any of that stuff anymore. That sucks.
I hate missable
I hate
trophies.
having to follow a guide while playing. I kind of just want to sit down, play through it, know everything in my mind. And man, when a game has like the trophies inside the game menu and it like tracks them for you,
oh, even better.
That's like chef's kiss, man. It's like perfect.
No, absolutely. It's nice with games like Spider-Man. You basically you're just 100%ing the game, and just I love to do everything that I can, get it all done before doing the final story quest, so that when I finish the game, the last trophy that pops is this last story trophy and then the platinum trophy. It's definitely a good feeling.
Definitely agreed. And then sometimes when they add those like DLC trophies, speaking like Astrobot, today
I know I saw that.
I gotta go play some of that.
And I appreciate that too. Like it is interesting because DLC trophies are a whole nother thing. Like an example, Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man I played it after the Game of the Year edition was already out. And I got the platinum trophy, but I have never gone back and done the DLC trophies. But in other games, like Astrobot, I'm excited to revisit the game, and I just finished it like less than a month ago because I enjoyed it that much. I look forward to going back in there and getting those trophies. And other games too, like when they're like a year later, like RE4, they did the Separate Ways expansion less than a year later and added some more trophies, and it gave me a reason to go back and revisit the game that I already love. Like, I don't know, not that you don't have a reason anyway, but I like that extra push to be like, okay, some new DLC and some new trophies, like let's go. It's fun, and it's nice to have your trophy list or the trophy percentage for the game at 100%.
Yeah, and get that good feeling, especially if you're on PSN profiles and
Mm-hmm.
all those recent games are just like check marked or has a little plat icon. Yeah, it's good.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a definite endorphin rush. And I know not everybody gets it. Like I kind of mentioned, some people hate that trophy pop or that achievement ding. And that's fair. I can understand, like, maybe it takes you out of the moment a little bit because it can be distracting. Or one of the more common things I've heard is, like, I don't want to get it. It's just dumb that I get an achievement or a trophy for finishing the tutorial. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fair too. Like, those aren't the trophies that I enjoy getting. Like I said with Final Fantasy 1, I like that I got a platinum trophy when I finished it, but I'm not like, jumping for joy, like feeling excited that I got the platinum because I didn't have to do anything. Like, those aren't the exciting platinums. This is getting a little bit into like maybe our favorite platinums too, but it's those games that you, like I kind of touched on, when you really push, like you have to, like, okay, one of my favorite platinums, I'll just say it, and a game that I felt like I really had to do this was Velocity 2X. Have you played that?
I have not.
Okay, so it's like platformy Metrovania and certain segments, and then shoot 'em up, shmup in other segments. Like, you'll get out of the ship and do these platforming sections, and then you'll be in a shmup area, and you have to do very fast movements and stuff. I played through it all on my Vita, and I really like that game. It has a very high difficulty curve, and it's one of those games where I was like, I played it years ago and I got most of the trophies, but back then, probably 2014, 15, I chickened out and I didn't push for the platinum. But last year I was like, I'm going to go back. I hadn't played it at this point almost 10 years. I'm like, I'm going to replay it and, see if I like it as much. And I liked it just as much as I remembered. So I played through the whole thing again, because I played it on PS4 originally, but this is the same trophy list. So I played through it all again, got everything done. And there was like the last two levels were just, you have to, you basically have to get 3 stars, get an S rank type thing. So, you have to not take damage. You have to do it in a certain amount of time, all these things. And man, when I finally finished the last level that I had and cut off that last like half a second that I needed that I was struggling with cutting off to get the last trophy that I needed to pop that platinum trophy, was a feeling of pure satisfaction. Like, it was just absolutely happy. Like, I was like, I've done it. I loved the game. I loved everything about it. I felt accomplished because it was so hard. And I don't know, maybe this is an arrogant thing to say, but I like that feeling of knowing that not everybody can do that, and I just pulled it off. Like, it's very rewarding.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I guess I could say 3 of my favorites essentially is the Crash Insane trilogy.
Those are hard ones, man.
When those finally got remade, and I was like, this is fantastic. Like, it's blowing my mind. I remember I had to work that day that they announced it at E3. And then I got off work, and my friends were like, oh, you're going to love something that they shown. And I was like, I wanted to avoid spoilers. And I went to watch it, and I was like, no way, no way, no way. I'm like, they came out. Then, you had it was pretty simple besides the time trials. When you did the time trials, dude, that's where it got a little iffy. But I played the games a lot. I'm not trying to say like I'm a master at the game, but they weren't too difficult for me. Those in CTR as well, Crash Team Racing.
You get the platinum for that one too?
Yeah, I got that one.
Dude, that's impressive. For the first Crash Bandicoot remake, like, I only need 1 trophy, I think, in that one, and I think it's just the time trials one. And I got so frustrated on one of the bridge levels that
High Road.
Yeah,
High Road.
Dude, the timing on that is so frustrating. I need to go back and do it because I'm so close to the platinum. Like, I think that I'm a little more patient now than I was 6-7 years ago when it came out and I was trying it then. But man, it's a respectable platinum trophy for sure because you have to put in the work to get it.
Yeah. Same with CTR. Like, for some of those time trials, you gotta be able to know how to like boost all around the course and stuff. And man, when that game came out, it was great. And the amount of like DLC they put into it, fantastic.
Yeah,
but
they really supported it. My wife loves that game. She prefers it to Mario Kart. So we play it. We don't play it as often as we did.
Awesome, just saying.
Yeah, she is. I agree. But yeah, she loves that game. We have it on Switch specifically because she wanted to play it, and that's easier for her to play on. But I want to get it on PlayStation so I can get the trophies because I really like that game too. It's just different enough from Mario Kart that like I feel like they can both exist in the same world, and not necessarily be competing with each other. You know, like they are obviously going to compete 'cause they're both character racers, but I can play them both and enjoy both of them.
Yeah, get that.
So what are some of your other favorite platinums that you've gotten?
All right. So this one, it's a favorite kind of because it's like a whole kind of memory story behind it. The game wasn't the greatest, and it's actually my rarest platinum on PSN profiles. It's 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 actually the number one rarest trophy like on my pull cabinet, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Destruction All Stars.
Oh God.
That game. Dude, I remember that game came out on Plus, and I was like, you know, popped one trophy, and I was like, I gotta get the rest. And unfortunately, when the game came out, your boy caught COVID.
Oh.
So I was bedridden, and I was, well, chair ridden, I guess you could say. And man, I was playing that game for way too long. And eventually, yeah, that game had so many glitch trophies,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just a pain. But then when I finally got it, you know, I was just like, it's over. I did it.
I did it.
It's done.
I'm done.
Like, I ain't got to worry about this no more. Especially the one, like, the one trophy, the box top trophy. Yeah, the dude that had like a bag on his head or something.
Mm-hmm.
His special ability, he had to like tag 5 cars just to like attach a drone to them or something.
And they
And it
time
would
out really
never
quickly.
register. Yeah, and it was like, oh. But when I finally got it, it's great.
Yeah. So fun story. It's not really
I
fun
gotta
for
hear
me,
it.
I guess.
It seemed
But
like it was a story once you did the whole thing.
so I also, when that game came out, I played it right away, and I actually enjoyed it. But I didn't hard go for the trophies right away. I kind of like passively just gained some of them and was kind of like, it's a platinum I'll never go for. And I want to say like, you know, I played it off and on for a few months. Then probably like a year later, I came back to it because I think my nephew and I were going to play it together again. And I got into it a little bit more. And I was like, I think I ended up getting one of the harder trophies for one of the characters. I don't remember which one. And I was like, all right, I'm feeling this game now. Like I'm feeling it. I'm going to do the platinum. So I sat there and I got just about every trophy. I've got every trophy, but then around the time that I was getting into it and wrapping up the trophy list, they got rid of the blitz mode. And
Ooh.
the one trophy I need is the Barong's Breaker trophy, where you have to destroy every opponent on the map in the match at the same time with her ultimate, and it is impossible to do basically outside of Blitz, because Blitz the people can wear down, and you can be down to just 1 or 2 people left and it would pop.
Man.
So I need one trophy for that game. It is every time I scroll past it on my trophy list, I get a little sad. I have the game downloaded because supposedly the servers are still up, but you cannot find a match. So I'm just like, I try every once in a while. I go on and I try and see if I can find a match. Maybe it's somebody I can, just get me the platinum trophy. I have this hope that one day something will happen.
That's probably why it's my rarest trophy. Because I never knew about that, but that's probably why.
Yeah, and nobody played it long after it came out. But yeah, them getting rid of the Blitz mode made 2 of the trophies extremely hard to get. And the one that I got all the trophies, but this one, it is absolute blight on my trophy list because I just I just hate that I have one trophy. I literally the other week made one of my friends download it again. I was like, we need to, maybe if we get a couple of us in a lobby, it'll or try to get on at the same time, it'll match us up, and nothing ever happens. But yeah, so I'm jealous.
And if you ever need, I'll hop back on.
I
don't know how many people you need, but if you get a squad together, I'll help out.
I've thought about trying to like reach out on the Reddit like for it and see if maybe there's a couple people that also need the trophies and we can just work together to get it, because I don't feel bad about cheesing it at this point if I can just get it. Like I put the work in for every other trophy. Like this one, I only don't have it because they've made it pretty much impossible to get.
The fact that game lived longer than Concord
is pretty wild. It's pretty wild. It's a shame though, because I think it had potential, and I think Sony marketed it terribly, like they did with Concord. Honestly, like You think they would have learned from Destruction All Stars, and I think at one point that team was supposed to be working on a Twisted Metal reboot, and I thought they would have been great at it because I liked a lot of the mechanics in Destruction All Stars, but from what I hear, that's not happening anymore or something. I don't know.
Yeah, because I guess it like went into development hell or something, then got swapped to Fire Sprite, and then just a couple months ago, I guess, is when it got like, well, not officially announced as canceled, but all the rumors went around like, oh, it's canceled. I was like, every state of play, that's what I was waiting for. I was like, oh, come on, we're gonna see Twisted Metal, and I was like, nope, and I was like, oh.
I know, I'd love to see a new Twisted Metal. It's one of my favorite franchises. Not even because of the story,
sense.
just the gameplay. I don't. Sony makes no sense though.
Like you bring the show out, the show does great, gets whatever for a season 2, and then like you said, like it would have been the perfect time to release it.
Yeah, I don't know why they're not capitalizing on it. I don't know. Sony. I have a lot of love for Sony, but not these days as much. They just do a lot of real stupid
I don't
stuff.
get what they do.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. I don't know. But yeah, no, I'm definitely
got Astrobot. Like
yeah, and it felt so out of the blue. Like they literally are doing nothing like Astrobot. Like I like Spider-Man, The Last of Us, Uncharted. Like I like all those games, but it's like they've fallen into this weird just black hole where that's all they know how to put out. But then like yeah, Astrobot was completely like out of left field for them. And hopefully they see how well it did and they wake up and see how bad Concord did and are like, okay, maybe people don't just want the same stupid stuff. Like, can we get some
I wonder
people...
how many like internal live service games they had going where they were like, you know what? Pull the plug.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
I have to imagine there's at least a couple because this was a disaster. Like, it was truly disastrous. Though apparently I just read today that there's been a bunch of updates on the Concord like back end on Steam. So people are starting to speculate that it's about to get relaunched or whatever. At least on Steam. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if I can see him doing that this soon.
I would be surprised. Like, I don't know.
Like I see it eventually being like, oh, free to play type thing.
Yeah.
But like I can't see it this soon.
It's like I agree. I don't know. I don't know what at the same time though, like if right now might be the only time they can capitalize on Concord's popularity, so to speak, to try to get people to play it. Like there's so much publicity around it. Maybe if they were to like tweak a few things and re-release it, some people would be like, "Oh, let's give that meme game a try."
It's true.
But I don't know. I don't see it really succeeding without completely being rescanned, and changed. A lot of things changed about it.
Yeah. Shout out to the like 12 or however many people that got the platinum on that game.
I know. That's the kind of thing that I'm always like a little jealous of. Like I like the idea of being part of a small amount of people that got a platinum on a game, but not because I want it to actually be shut off. I just want to be part of an elusive group.
Yeah.
Another favorite platinum of mine is from a series that I've recently like really gotten into more in the last couple of years, and that's SteamWorld Dig 2. I love platformers. We've talked about this before. Like I'm a big platformer fan, and SteamWorld Dig 1 holds a very special place in my heart. I think it's a fantastic game. It's just the right size for like a quick playthrough. But unfortunately it doesn't have a platinum trophy, so it's just a normal trophy list, which I still need to get a couple to get 100% on that. But I feel like both SteamWorld Dig 2 is definitely the better game overall, but it's quite a decent amount longer. But it's trying to get the platinum in it. It requires that you do a run where you don't die, you unlock every area, you get every item, I think, and you do it within a very specific time frame. So it took like 4 playthroughs, I think, 4 or 5 playthroughs to actually like figure out where everything was good enough to be able to run it quick enough. I remember my 3rd playthrough, I thought I got it. I thought I'd done everything, and then I ended up, I think I was like 2 seconds off of the time that I needed to get the last star, to get the S ranking. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, and it doesn't have save states, so I couldn't go back. I had to just do a whole nother run. But it was a very rewarding platinum trophy for me. Like, I really enjoyed. I love the game, but it kind of falls in that same category as Velocity 2X did for me. Like, it's the actual gameplay is the game itself isn't crazy hard. Like, it has its difficult parts, but most people could play it and beat it. But like actually doing all of it to get the platinum trophy, running it fast enough without dying, it feels like I accomplished it. Like I put it out there and I did it. I got that platinum trophy, and it was a very rewarding one for me. And it's a pretty small percentage. It's less than 1%, I believe. It's not my rarest trophy. I should have looked to see what my rarest trophy is, but I know I have other games that have platinum trophies that are lower percentage than that. But yeah, I don't know. Love the game. Have you ever played the SteamWorld games?
I have not.
SteamWorld Dig 1. It's almost always super cheap. And if you don't have it physically somewhere, like it's on so many consoles, I'd say give it a play. It's a great idea of what that universe is like, and it's not a commitment really. Like, you can, even never having played it, you could probably beat it in less than 5 hours, I would think.
Oh wow.
So it's short.
Speaking, this isn't I don't have the platinum on this game yet. It's one I got to go back to. But you were speaking about having to do something in like a certain amount of time, and it kind of reminded me of the original God of War trilogy. The first God of War, you had to beat it in like under 5 hours, which got that trophy. Didn't have to worry about that one. But then you have to do the Challenge of the Gods or Challenge of Olympus or something like that. And it's like 12 challenges, and some of them can be like really difficult, really time consuming, and you have to do it in like one go. Like, you got to do all of them. So I was like, all right, let's go for it. So I got to like the 11th one, and my system froze. And I was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
One day I'll come back to it. It's been years. One day I'll go back to it. But that pissed me off.
Dude, for sure. That's the kind of stuff that would turn me off too, because you're just like, you're in the run, you're feeling it, and then it just getting like just snatched away from you like that. It's just like,
I'm so close to this platinum, I'm gonna have everything just stopped. I was like, hold on, maybe give it a minute, maybe it'll just come back. No, there was no hope.
Maybe it'll just work. Like, yeah, it's very disheartening. It's 100%. I totally agree with that. I know I've had experiences like that with games, when trophy hunting, but I can't think of an example right now. But God, it's the worst.
Olympus won that time.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
I did not.
Another platinum that I like that I have, I don't know if the servers are shut down on this one yet. This was a game that everybody hated. And somehow I was one of the weird ones that actually still was able to enjoy this game. And that's Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5. So Pro Skater 5 came out, and it was buggy. It was buggy even at launch, but I think I was so like hungry for just like a new Pro Skater that I kind of looked past a lot of the flaws, and just played it anyway, and I really enjoyed it. It was a slow burn platinum for me. Like, I didn't get it like overnight. It's a game I would, just like I do with any Tony Hawk really, I would play it hardcore for maybe a week or two, do a couple of runs, and then put it down and come back to it again a few months later. I think it took me a total of like 3 or 4 years from first trophy to platinum to actually platinum it. But the game came out when I was still at GameStop, and I remember one of the guys I worked with, my friend Kyle, who's been on the podcast before, he hated the game. He hated it so much. And he was like, don't even bother getting it. You're going to hate it. And I was like, I got to try it anyway. Like, I know you're saying you hate it, and I do trust his opinion, but I was like, I love Tony Hawk. I'm going to do it anyway.
You were like, listen, nothing could be as bad as Tony Hawk Ride.
Yeah, right? It's got to be better than that, and it was. I think. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so I took it, and like I really liked it, and he would just give me such a hard time. So I'd always send him screenshots of like different accomplishments I had. Like one time, I don't have the screenshot unfortunately, but on one of the levels I managed to hit top 10 on the leaderboard on a certain thing on the level, and I was like, dang, that's awesome. So I screenshot and sent him a picture, and he was like, bro, we're dead right now, like, because he lived with another coworker, and he was like, how are you still playing this game? So when I got the platinum, I sent him the picture. I was like, I did it. I never gave up. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 for life.
Does that one have trophies kind of like how the 1 and 2 remake did, where on some of those levels, it had like insane combos you had to do.
It does.
Like it does. Oh, those are difficult.
Yeah, those are rough trophies. I still don't have the platinum on 1 and 2 HD, but just like I did with 5, I go back to it probably every 6 months or so, and do a handful of runs. For me, the hardest trophies are getting all of the hidden gaps, because I hate trying to find them all, and
Yeah.
it can be kind of frustrating sometimes. But the worst is getting to level 100, because you level up so slow in that game. And that's the 0.1% trophy in the game, that like if people don't have the platinum, it's because of that one usually. And that's those. I think I need more trophies than that, but those are the two that I'm just like, every time I come back, I do a few more. I find a handful more gaps. I do a couple more runs to get my level up a little bit more, and I assume I'll have the platinum probably by 2030. But
Hey, as long as you get it.
yeah,
You get it.
right. And then I'll send you a screenshot when I do.
I'm like, he did it.
He did it. That crazy son of a. Any other favorite platinums for you?
One, probably Persona 5 Royal. That like game was incredible. I enjoyed it so much. The story, the characters,
The music.
and yeah, the music. Oh, never see it coming. Yeah, that
Mhm.
stuff. So, dude, I remember that was like 120 hours of like pure joy. Like,
Yeah.
and the trophies weren't too bad. I followed like a little bit of a guide, so didn't mess up any of the confidants or anything. Like, you had to make sure the uh counselor, that's the name. The counselor was like at a certain rank, Akechi and Kasumi, but other than that, it was pretty much good. But yeah, dude, that game was incredible.
Yeah.
And then just getting all the trophies and so good. I've been playing through Reload. I need to finish that by a certain date because that's going to be an episode on our podcast. I didn't get back to that, but
Just
yeah.
a side note on that point, I like that you guys do those episodes, and like Christian does them too on the Unlockable podcast. I like those where it's almost like you can kind of play along with it. Like you guys did the Ape Escape one recently, and I really appreciated that because it's a game I've always wanted to play, but I've never played it. But it gave me a reason. I'm like, okay, I want to listen to the episode without. I'm not super worried about spoilers on a game that old, but I'm like, I still want to have played it and like be able to be like, yeah, I liked that, or I didn't like that as well, and like kind of partake about it even from my car. I like that concept. So even hearing you guys are going to do a Reload episode kind of makes me want to pick it up and do it, because I've played Persona 3, but it's been years, like years and years. So
It's December 11th.
I don't have a lot of time.
You got like a month, little over a month.
I might have to.
So,
I might
yeah.
have to see if I can't prioritize that. I was thinking about doing a Persona 4 Golden playthrough on my Vita, but I'll have to I'll have to delay that if I decide to instead and do 3
I gotta play
Reload.
that one as well. 5 was like my intro series. I
5
played
was
4 a
great.
little bit, but I never got like far enough into it. So just
Yeah,
other stuff came up, didn't get to it.
I played 3 FES, so on PS2, and then I played Portable, and then I played 4 when it came out on PS2. I had never played Golden, but 4 is really good. I just think that I think they're all great, but I think 5, I don't know, I think 5 is probably the best. And for me,
Yeah.
part of it is just the vibe of that game is just, it really hits like really well. And the music in all the games is great, but the music in 5 is just like, I can put that on. Like, I have a friend who's playing it right now, and we had to go out of town for work, because we work together, and he brought his PlayStation with him. So I had brought my Vita because I was playing something on there, and he was playing Persona 5 because he's playing it right now, like I said, and I'm just sitting there like just fully enjoying, just listening to the music as he's playing it. I'm just hearing the same song over and over again, or same few songs,
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, this soundtrack is so good. Like, it's so catchy. Then I find myself singing it while I'm working later. Like,
Yeah.
it's good stuff. Um,
But
so some other platinums that I have enjoyed getting, they're not for games that I necessarily love, but I like when I can play a game multiplayer with a friend, and get the platinum.
that was
Like,
gonna be my next one I brought up.
what game was it for you?
Well, so I have a couple.
Yeah.
Like there's 2 I did in like a big group, like Dead Island the remake, and then Dying Light.
Okay.
And then there's this MMO on the PlayStation Store, and I mean probably Steam as well, called Terra. It's honestly not that big of a uh whatever. No, it doesn't take a lot of time.
Yeah.
Like it's relatively short. Like you get to level, I think it's 40, and then you unlock like a Reaper class, and then the Reaper automatically takes you to level 65, which I don't get it. And I was like, okay.
That's odd. Yeah.
So played as that, and then the side quests got you real quick to 80. And I played through this game with my buddy Matt, and it was just great going around to all the world bosses because you had to kill every single world boss and stuff. And then there was this one where we were sitting at it, and it didn't. Somebody already killed it, so we had to wait for it to respawn.
Yeah.
So we're just hanging out there, just chilling, just talking. We're in like the middle of a conversation. It pops up like, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it.
Stop what you're doing now.
Yeah, just having those experiences with like your friends and playing through them, it's great.
Yeah, I agree. That for me, like a couple, me and my friend Keldrick, we've done together. Tribes of Midgard was a free PlayStation Plus game a few years back. It's an okay game, but I enjoyed it. It's kind of got that little bit of a dungeon crawly aspect to it, in the way that you explore and you attack stuff. I don't know. It's one of those games that I wouldn't be like, dude, you got to play Tribes of Midgard. But it was a fun free PlayStation Plus game that we played together, and we did everything, got that platinum. And it's just fun to be able to just hang out, play a game with your friend, and then also unlock a platinum trophy, because you can look back at it and be like, that was kind of fun. Like I might not ever play that game again. Another one we did was the Nickelodeon All Stars, the Smash Brothers clone. That one,
I think that's what it's called, something like that.
Yeah,
All-Star Brawl.
All-Star Brawl. That sounds right. Yeah, we did that one too, and we definitely did cheese it. We did it pretty legit for a while, and then we're like, okay, we still need like 50 battles to finish this off, so we just went through, like, you had to get like 100 wins or something like that, so we just went through and cheesed the last trophy, but it was still fun. Yeah, and it's fun to have some co-op games that you can play, especially if they like to get trophies too, and like just work together. Like when we need trophies, a lot of times we'll pop a game in and just play it just to help the other one get a trophy if they need it. Stuff like that. I really enjoy that aspect of trophy hunting too. Any other favorites for you?
It's kind of, another one that I enjoy because it kind of got me into the series. As I mentioned before, I really like the East games, East 9. That's the one that kind of introduced me to the series. So playing through that one and just getting all the trivia, that's when you had to play through twice because you had to play it on a higher difficulty. But I was totally fine with that because that game was great.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll play through it again. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I need to play. I've only played 8. I need to play 9. I have 7 on PSP.
Play, and I heard good things on 8. So
yeah, 8 was really good. I really enjoyed it. Very pretty game. On that note, I like a lot of RPG platinums just in general. It's, a lot of times you do have to play through them twice, but I don't know. When I like an RPG, generally speaking, when I like any game, but when I like an RPG, like, it's really nice to have gotten the platinum on it and feel that level of like completionist from when I was a kid, that, playing through it and doing everything I could. Like it's really finished here with the platinum trophy. Like when I got the platinum for Remake, I felt very accomplished, having to play through it 2 times, which I didn't do in one sitting. I did it one on PS4, and then I did another playthrough on PS5 and finished off the trophy list. But yeah, I just enjoy getting those. Like, they just are very rewarding. I need to go back and do a second playthrough of Star Ocean, Second Story R, Second Evolution R, whatever it's called, so I can get the last couple trophies I need. But yeah, RPG platinums are fun. They tend to be the most time consuming sometimes because they almost always require a second playthrough. Sometimes more, but okay. Any we've kind of talked about this some, but any trophy goals, any games that you were like, I got to platinum this, I want to play this and platinum it in the next year, or a trophy list you want to clean up or something?
One I definitely want to platinum at some point, and I mentioned that I had 4 in the series before, and that is Crash Bandicoot 4. One day, but man, that game is rough. Like, they added the whole like triple spin mechanic, and like I was used to the whole slide dash, slide dash, slide dash. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty good at doing all that. But in this one, you have to do like the triple spin and all this other stuff. And some of those levels get crazy, and then you also gotta like beat each level with getting all the boxes without dying.
Yeah.
It's just a load of stuff you gotta do, and man,
It's a
like
hard trophy
one
list.
day I will have it.
Yeah.
One day, probably not soon, but
I
it's
hear
one
you.
that I just boot up a level and I'm like, yeah, let's get this level done.
One step closer.
Yeah.
It's a game. I have one friend on my friends list that has the platinum on that game, and I want to say it's like 0.1%. Like it's a pretty
Yeah.
small completion rate because it's just hard. Like, like
Like the fact that the Insane trilogy, you just had to get like the gold tier time relics.
mm-hmm.
Simple. This one, it's like, no, you need a platinum, and that's it. Like,
It's just
I'm like,
cruel. It's like they wanted to punish everybody just for liking it.
yeah,
You want a platinum? Well, you're gonna work for it. But I
yeah.
mean, once you get it, though, that feeling of rewardingness. That's not a word.
You're gonna
But
work for it. You're gonna go through 8 controllers. You're gonna like,
right.
man.
Yeah. I know for me, I already mentioned it, but Destruction All Stars, if I can figure out a way to get that platinum before it closes
I'll
officially,
help.
I appreciate it. And if I figure something out, I will definitely be reaching out to you because I want to get that last stinking trophy so I can be done with the list. Like, I know that I might not ever be able, like, the game might go down at some point and then I'll never be able to get it. So, and I already mentioned it too, but another big one for me is Rebirth. Like, I feel like I have to get it at some point, like, or else I can't say I'm as big of a Final Fantasy VII fan as I am. Like, I feel like it's
Man,
a rite of passage almost.
Zach's going for that, and he's like near the end of the hard mode playthrough. I think he got like all the other stuff pretty much done. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how
Man,
you deal with remake. I mean, I never tried the hard mode, but just from read about it, I was like, "Ooh, that sounds
it's
actually hard."
rough. Yeah, remake was super hard. From what I hear, Rebirth is even harder. So yeah, I'm a little nervous to spend the time, but I feel like next year I'll
Unless you
probably
get
do
it
it
before
again.
the third game,
Yeah,
After the third
that's
one.
my main goal. Is I have to have it before Part 3 comes out. And I want to go back and do another playthrough of 16, Final Fantasy 16, because I only need
Still
two
need to do
trophies,
that.
and one of them is the Final Fantasy trophy for playing on that difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to play the DLC because I haven't played the DLC yet. So I feel like doing that playthrough, getting the platinum, and then doing the DLC is like a good way to do it. So those are kind of like the ones that are like really sitting on my mind. That I think Destruction All Stars, until either I get it or they shut it down and I know it's unachievable, will always be right here as something that I need to have. Then there
That
are
was funny when
some.
I mentioned that, and you were just like, "Oh,
Yeah, it's funny that you brought it up because I had it right here in my goals / like disasters. And I do have some trophy lists that I'm like, I was one trophy away from that game, and why didn't I just clean that trophy up? Like all the way back on PS3, X-Men Origins Wolverine, I only needed one trophy. I don't actually own that game. I think it was when I worked at GameStop, and we could quote unquote rent games. I think I probably just checked it out and played it that way. So I need to go back and get that. And like Astrobot on VR, I need one trophy. I just have been too lazy to rehook up my PSVR, because it's a lot of cords and stuff.
oh, dude, it's crazy."
Yeah,
The PSVR 2 is so much better.
I know I want one, but I hate that the games aren't backwards compatible. Like I understand it's different
Yeah,
technology, but I wish that I could have all my PS4 VR games and get PS5 ones, and they all just work on the same headset.
it sucks because like at one point I was like, "Oh, it'd be cool to have like a full collection of all the PS4 VR games," and I started getting them. I never like went through with it or anything, but now I just have a PSVR 2 and all these PSVR 1 games, and I'm like,
Right?
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of them I want to play, like Budget Cuts and some other ones, but of course none of them have upgrades or anything. So I'm like,
I know. Yeah, I that's that's the main reason why I haven't bought a VR2 yet. There are a few games I want to play on it, but the fact that it's not backwards compatible, I've just been able to be like, I'll just wait for a big price cut, because I assume it'll happen eventually, right?
at some point they gotta. Apparently they're sitting on them in warehouses. You might as well. Yeah.
They did a pretty decent one earlier this year, but I'd like to see one more bigger one.
Yeah.
I had one in my cart because they did a $200 price cut, And I did. I put it in the cart, and I was like, I had my button hovering above, pay now, and I was like, I don't need it. I don't need it. I talked myself out of it. I was like, it needs to be cheaper. I do want to get the Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, but I now have heard that physically it's like
It's expensive.
super expensive. So I'm hoping I can.
I got lucky. I I always knew it was gonna be like I knew it was. You didn't see it often.
Yeah.
It was hardly ever listed anywhere. So I was like, yeah, I should get it sooner than later.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to play it because I played the demo. The demo was great.
Yeah.
And so there was this one game. There's like game store chain up by me called Just Press Play, and their one store was closing, and it was literally everything in the store was like 40% off.
Oh,
like
dang.
it kept on going like up. I think it reached to like 60 or something like that. And I was like, I wonder if they still have it, the Star Wars copy, and they did.
Wow.
So I got it, and it was like $24 or something like that.
Dude, that's a
And
steal.
I was like, dude, that's worth it. And then I seen somewhere when somebody was talking about it, and I seen on eBay it was going for like $200. Like,
Mhm.
what?
Yeah.
Like, no way.
It's expensive. I always look when I go to GameStops because that's what I go to GameStops more. Now they have the retro sections, but I always go just to see if they have some of those more obscure, harder to find games for PS4, PS5, or Switch that you might get cheaper there than you would if you bought it online.
If I ever see one of those Star Wars, I'll let you know.
Dude, let me
I'll
know.
hook you up.
Yeah, I would 100%. Like, even though I don't have a VR2, like, I also collect Star Wars video games. So, like, I have a big collection of Star Wars games. So, even if I never got a VR2, I'd still want to get the game. But I will get a VR2 eventually.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely on my list. But, yeah, I guess we kind of got off topic there. But,
That's fine. Star Wars, good. VR, good.
yeah. Trophies, good. Yeah,
Yes.
and I need to get. I also another VR game. I only need one more trophy on Moss. I just had to finish. You have to do a playthrough without dying, and I got just to the end,
Okay.
and I ended up dying, so I need to do it again. But it's not a very long game, so I just need to do it. It's kind of close to what you were saying with the God of War thing, where I was right at the end,
Like, nope.
and
good.
I was like, I
Do it
don't want to
later.
do this again right now. And now it's been years, and I haven't gone back. I need to just hook up my VR one of these weeks and just go through some of these games and platinum up. So, any other trophy goals for you?
So one, I was looking at like Sparking Zero stuff, and it on PSN Pro, it's like, oh look, you could do all these Dragon Ball games, and I was like, it would be cool to go back and do all of them. Like I had the Budokai HD
HD?
collection
Yeah.
done. I have Kakarot. I have Xenoverse 2. Still need to do Universe 1, but those drop rates are horrible. And one other I need to do, which I actually ended up buying the Vita version because I was like, oh, I can do it on the
Nice.
go, which is Dragon Ball Battle of Z. Which the import version is like $80 to $100.
I know, it's
at least when I
expensive.
bought it. And I was like, dang.
Yeah.
So I was like, the trophy list, they're shared with the PS3 and the Vita. So I was like, oh, that'd be simple. There's no save data transfer. And what
so
I
you have to
needed to
start
do
over.
was I need to do 100 online battles or something like that. And so I was like, oh.
The servers
well,
are
let's
still
just
up on it,
reset.
though?
Yeah.
That's
they're-
good.
At least from when I last played, they're still up. And I was which like a month or two ago. So one day I'll go back and hopefully get that done because I did all the hard stuff. I got all the cards. I would go on that thing weekly whenever they refresh the shop, and I'd get them. But this one's definitely one I want to get at some point because I gotta check the others, but I don't know which other ones fully have online trophies, so I can actually get them all.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And
definitely want to do that before they start shutting those down.
I'm right there with you. I love Dragon Ball, and even though I'm terrible at fighting games, I'd still like to get the platinums on all of them. I want to do the platinum for Breakers too, just because, but I have so much trouble playing that game because it just frustrates me, like we talked about. But yeah, so far I don't have a lot of platinum trophies for Dragon Ball games, just Kakarot. But I would like to add more to that, and I am terrified of them closing down online servers and stuff for a lot of those games. I need to go back to
go back,
Budokai.
just see what the online trophies are and get them.
Yeah, it's smart.
So I can go back to my leisure.
Last year, EA shut down the online servers for a bunch of games, and one of them was Mirror's Edge, whatever the sequel's called, which I never Catalyst. That's
maybe?
right. I think
Yeah.
that sounds right. Which I hadn't played the first one even, but I was like, I do want to play that game. and once they shut down, there's 2 trophies that are going to be inaccessible. So it was on sale, so I bought it for like $2 or something like that. And I played just enough to get the 2 online trophies. And I was like, now I'll come back and play the game when I am ready. Like once I've played the first one. But I'm like, I'm glad I did that because I know now I'm good. I don't have to worry. I can still get the platinum eventually. But man,
I did that recently with Killzone Shadowfall. They announced that was shutting down, and I was like, I already have a couple trophies in it. I was like, how much do I got to do? I had to grind and boost multiplayer for like 40 hours.
Oh God,
like
that's a lot.
Like there was this one spot I just stood on this tree because you had to like max out every weapon, all this stuff, and I would just keep shooting these bots, and then you had to get all your special abilities. You had to get a certain amount of kills with each of those. It was a very grindy like 2 weeks, and I was like, oh, do I do the Vita version too? And I was like, no. Like I cannot stand any more of this.
Can't do any more Killzone.
I started playing the campaign, and I was like, yeah, I'll just finish the platinum. And I was like, no, I'll come back to this. I now have all the time. I can go to it when I need. I will get Shadowfall eventually.
Yeah.
But as of right now, it can wait.
No, 100%. I get it. I killed the Vita Killzone Liberation, I believe. That one, That's on my list of games that I'm mad that I didn't platinum, because I actually played it back when it came out. I even played online a little bit and have a couple of the online trophies, but I don't have all of them. And I wasn't paying attention last year when the servers were shutting down, and by the time I even thought about going back to the game, they were already closed, and I was like, son of a gun. Like
one that I'm pretty sure is still up, and if you have the game, I'll even help you with it, is Resistance Burning Skies. You just need to play like one multiplayer match.
I don't have Resistance yet, but I'm going to get it.
There's like never anybody on that game. I had to find somebody on Discord and eventually set something up, and I got it. But,
no, it's good to know. I'll reach out to you because I'm kind of sort of, I haven't like really said this, but I'm kind of sort of thinking about going for a Vita set. And I'm pushing, I just passed 50 physical games. So, and I don't have Resistance yet. So, and it was on the list of ones I was going to get no matter what. So,
it's crazy because of how small the Vita cases are. Like, I have like 100 or 200 something, and I'm just like, this does not look like 200 games.
Yeah.
They're like,
yeah, they don't take up much room, which is nice. Because like PS2, like PS4 games I have behind me, they take up a decent amount of room, even though they're shorter cases. It goes quick. That's what's nice about Switch games is they don't take up much room. But man, that wall of red is ugly.
Yeah, I got the wall of red and my one black Darksiders.
Yeah, and then you add Labo to it because I think the Labo games were black as well, right?
Yeah.
So there's a little diversity there.
A little bit.
All right, man. Well, I think that kind of sums it up. We had a nice talk about trophy hunting. Yeah, if you're ever playing a game, especially if you know it was a PlayStation Plus game, or I have a pretty big collection now, and if you need a multiplayer sidekick to help push through, let me know. Because I'll usually do it. My friend Keldrick will usually hop on and play it, especially if he already has it. Like we do that with a lot of games, and that goes to anybody listening too. Like if you like trophy hunting and you want to clean up some trophy lists that are multiplayer, reach out. I like. It's a weird thing, but I like helping people finish their trophy list almost as much as I like finishing my own. Like I don't know. It's kind of like I enjoy helping people finish things. Like I like finding things in the wild for other collectors and stuff. Like it's fun to know like they're collecting this and like I can help be a part of that. Like I don't know what that is.
Like that Evil Within. Shout out to you.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just shocked that I found it. But
I found this guy at GameStop. I was like, what?
Yeah, I was glad that I could help you out with that. And it's just random. Like, but
I have to message all these eBay sellers and be like, is this an NDSC copy or is this Peggy?
Yeah, right. When that helped a ton with this Dragon Ball Xenoverse, because that's just like I collect Dragon Ball games, and just that was one that I figured would be years before I managed to get lucky and find a copy. And you made that way easy, so I thank you for that.
Of course. I knew you were a Dragon Ball fan right when they said I got 3 left. I was like, yo, Chris, yo, Vinny, buy it.
Dude, I don't think I saw your text right away, but by the time I saw it, your buddy Vinny must have bought one, and I got the last one. And I was like, let's go. Like, so excited.
This guy was probably like, I've been sitting on these for years.
Yeah, what is this? Is so weird. They didn't know there's a bunch of us weirdos out here that we wanted exactly that. Yeah, so I appreciate you coming on here, man.
Of course, it was a great time, man.
Yeah, we'll do it again. I'll after we close up, I'll talk a little bit more about it. But I have an idea for an episode I want to do with you and Christian. That I'll have to run by him too. So, but yeah, no, I appreciate it. Talking trophy hunting is fun. If you ever think of something else you want to talk about, you want to come on again just for the heck of it, you're always welcome.
Sounds good. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I love having once you've been on once. I mean, even if you haven't been on once, I love to have new people on. But I love to, just feel free, reach out. I like to talk when it comes to video games. I could talk about just about anything, and I like to learn even when it's not something I know much about. So if you come with the knowledge, I can either talk about it or learn about it on the podcast. So
sounds good to me.
So before we close up, why don't you just throw out your socials and where we can find you on social media, on YouTube and all that, so anybody can follow you and check out your content.
All right. So YouTube, you find me on Craig's channel for Generations Behind. That's just Craig's Game Room, all one word. My YouTube channel, Game Collecting Reaper. That's also my Instagram, Game Collecting Reaper. My Twitter, X, however, I can't fit all that, so it is just my name, Tyler Haidt, Haydt at the end. That's where you can find me there.
Awesome. And I'll try to remember to put that in the description of the episode so that people can have an easier way of finding it too. And yeah, no man, I really appreciate it, and we'll definitely do it again.
I'm down. It was a fun time.
So, and then just in conclusion too, remember you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, basically wherever at X Button Gaming. And I am putting out more YouTube content lately. So if you haven't already done so, please follow me on or subscribe on YouTube, X Button Gaming. And we're going to close it off. So thanks again, everybody, for listening. Thanks again, Tyler, for being a guest. And
of course, thank you.
And remember, everyone, to always press X to continue.
The cross button.